Here is our Talaria XXX that we built up in our last video. Time to turn up the power. This is our upgraded Charge Cycle Works 74 volt battery. And this more powerful Surron motor. Subscribe right now, let's make this bike go 80 miles an hour. Okay, let's talk about this new battery setup and the differences between stock. So stock, you have a traditional Talaria plug. You also have a charge plug on the battery. So what we did is we pulled out the stock Talaria power harness. So they send a whole new unit for that. They upgrade to a QS8 connector, which is capable of more power, smaller, cleaner. That will plug in right there. That on the end of it has your positive and your ground wires that will plug into your controller, these two. It also has your comms plug, and it has the connector that plugs into your exterior charge plate, the same charge plate you had on your stock bike. Then this guy plugs into the battery right here. That kind of controls your comm, so your controller knows what's going on with the battery. So this setup is super nice. These are beefy connectors, beefy setup. This battery is capable of 16 kilowatts continuous and much higher in short bursts. I think close to 30 kilowatts from the spec sheet that I read. So it's super nice. They do the upgraded connectors. We shouldn't have any issue pulling tons of power from this battery. Alright guys, video update on our high-powered Talaria XXX. Today is February 18th. I know you guys have been waiting for our second video. We're like 2 weeks past due on that video, but we've been working literally the entire time trying to get our setup to work. You guys saw our install. We installed an EBMX X9000. As you can see, this is not an EBMX X9000. We installed a Surron 10 kilowatt motor. I know it says 79 bike. That's because we stole it from our 79 bike Falcon M for this video. But the problem is that we can't get this motor to get tuned on our X9000. There is no tune pre-made for it. We tried all kinds of stuff. We did custom tuning, motor auto tuning. We worked with EBMX developers a little bit, trying to get it to work. Could not get it to work. Maybe they can in the future, but I think they don't really have any plans to for this lower power version of the Surron motor. We also tried in our first video to run the X9000 on the stock Talaria XXX motor, and it ran a little bit but didn't run perfectly, not even close to perfectly. So EBMX still does not have a tune out for that motor, so we can't really run X9000 with stock motor either. So our next chain of events was to swap out our nuclear controller, which is specific to the XXX. We stole it off of our other XXX and we put it on this bike hoping that we could run a motor auto tune on our Surron motor and get it to work. Did not work. It wouldn't tune the motor. So we're kind of thinking there might be something weird with tuning a 10 kilowatt Surron motor now. So this setup's not working either. So now our chain of events is we are going to take out our Surron motor, put it back in our 79 bike where it belongs, and we're going to put our stock XXX motor back in here. We're going to run it with our nuclear controller because we know that works with a stock motor because we ran it on this bike very successfully. It felt amazing. We still have our 74 volt upgraded Charge Cycle Works battery in here. So we're gonna be running nuclear controller, stock motor, upgraded battery, and we're gonna see what power numbers we can pull from our stock motor, and it should run really smooth. Should run really smooth. So it's been kind of a nightmare, you guys. We have some more stuff in the works, some other potential power combinations between controller, motor, setup on this with some other stuff we're hoping to try in the future from other companies. So stay tuned. We've got some feelers out trying to make something work, but at the moment I think that's what our video is going to end up being. So now we're going to take this motor out, put our stock one back in, and then you'll see the next progression of the video if that works. It's time to continue our story. So as you guys can see, we have our stock Talaria XXX motor back on, and we have our nuclear controller switched from our other XXX to this XXX that has our upgraded 74-volt battery inside. So this combination right now is running, and it is running really well. It is super smooth. We're loving how the throttle feels. The plug and play aspect of this nuclear controller was fantastic, and we've been running the stock motor to its absolute limit. We're not even getting close to what our battery is capable of pushing, but we've been able to run about 12 kilowatts, a little bit higher here and there, a little bit lower here and there, depending on other specs that were set in our controller. We're getting about 60 miles an hour, and this bike is super fun to ride because it does still feel light, nimble, small, and with the supermotos on the road, it's just super fun. So what's our limiting factor on this build right now? Well, it is our XXX stock motor. We and several other people have only been able to pull about 12 kilowatts from that. This controller is going to be limited to 25 kilowatts and 500 phase amps, which is a pretty low amount of torque for a super high power build. Our battery is capable of 16 kilowatts continuous power and 30 kilowatts peak power, which is super high numbers. So our goal for the future on this bike is to get a controller and get a motor that will allow us to run the limits of this battery. We are probably going to go with that X9000 controller once it's eventually fully compatible with this bike, and we'll figure out what motor is going to work for us in the future, but that's our plans. Let's head on out and ride this bike because it still has double the power of a stock XXX. All right, you guys, we have two Talaria XXXs. It's time for a drag race. This one is totally stock. This one is not totally stock. It's the one from the video. That bike is set to the max power we can run with that motor, which is about 12 kilowatts, 500 phase amps. This bike is about 6.5 kilowatts. Let's go. 3, 2, 1, go. And it's not even a close race at all. So he smoked me. You guys can see that. Absolutely smoked me. He's running literally double the power. That bike feels amazing. Well, drag race number one, you guys saw what double the power does on the same bike.
Double the speed.
Double the speed. So what's our next drag race? Should we compare it against the E-Ride Pro SS? That's a little more close to this power level. Should we give it a try? Okay, I now have the E-Ride Pro SS. We are above 90% battery, so we're pretty much full. We should have full performance. And let's talk about the power numbers on this bike really quick. They say that this bike is rated at 12 kilowatts. It really doesn't feel like a true 12 kilowatts. I think it just peaks to 12 for a second and then kind of levels back down. That bike is really holding a 12 kilowatts. It can just constantly pull like 11.8, 11.9, 12 kilowatts for a long period of time. So it should be faster than this bike. We do have a huge sprocket on here. This bike, we have no idea how much phase amps it's running, so the torque number, that's running about 500, and we're about able to pull really close to that number, even with the stock motor. So let's see how we do here. 3, 2, 1, go! There he goes.
Similar off the line.
This bike is fast, no doubt. This bike is definitely quick. That was a little closer than I was expecting. Not bad. This bike is fast. I mean, that just puts into perspective on our last video how fast that Sting R with the torque controller is. In all reality, it's not far off of that bike, and you guys saw it was neck and neck with this bike, even pulling on it just a little bit. All these bikes are getting fast.
Time to race Alex's bike that has a controller and a battery, same as this one. But the difference is these motors, everyone thinks they're the same, but it's been confirmed they are not the same. This one's only able to pull about 12 kilowatts, 500 phase amps. That one's able to pull 17 kilowatts, 500 phase amps. So we're going to show you the difference of just doing a battery controller, no motor on both of these bikes.
Yeah, and all these numbers, guys, we're not making this stuff up. This is what like numbers we've actually been able to pull.
It's actually showing it on the screen.
Actually showing, we're doing screen recordings, we're doing all kinds of stuff to actually prove that we're showing this. You can set this bike to 20 kilowatts. The battery can handle that, the controller can handle that, but when you do it, it only shows you ever hitting 16.9 kilowatts, 17 kilowatts, and then it even settles back down lower than that. Same thing with this. You can set that bike to 20 kilowatts, but that motor, it just only lets you do 12 kilowatts. So that's what we've been doing on all these tests, you guys. We're not just making up numbers. You can set numbers higher than it will actually let you do, but in reality, you're not actually doing it. Same with speed. Sometimes you measure your speedometer is 5 miles an hour off. You got to be using GPS, and that's what we're using in all these tests. When we tell you a top speed, it's GPS. Drag race number 3. I have moved to the upgraded Talaria X. Reed is on Alex's bike running 17 kilowatts because that's what that motor can handle. Stock motor, upgraded controller, upgraded battery. So, sort of a similar situation to this.
500 phase amps.
Yep, both are running about 500 phase amps, so it'll be a pretty fair comparison. It's kind of just testing stock motor versus stock motor. Also, sneak peek, Reed's bike, you're going to see in a minute, has an upgraded motor. We'll have a video coming on that in the future, but you're going to see on this ride that it's an absolute weapon. Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, there he goes.
Now we're talking.
Well, that's what 5 kilowatts does between that bike and this bike, but I hope someday we can make this bike go a whole lot faster than that bike can even go. That'll be crazy. Okay, we're gonna grab Reed's bike with that super high power motor. We're gonna take Alex's bike, this bike, Supermotos, and we're gonna head out on the road. All right, guys, we're starting off our ride here. We are headed to McDonald's because I am starving. We need to get a spicy McChicken in me. That's what I need. I gotta talk about this XXX a little bit because even at 12 kilowatts, which obviously is a lot faster than stock, it just feels so fast and smooth and amazing with this nuclear controller. I'll be honest, the throttle feeling on the nuclear controller is probably the best I've felt of any controller ever. It doesn't have some things going for it that other controllers do, which is why sometimes we recommend other controllers over this one, but the throttle feels freaking amazing. It's so smooth, so precise, and so, I don't know, it just feels snappy. You guys saw Reed just fly past me on that bike. He's got that new motor in it. We're not going to tell you what it is yet. You may see it in the video, but there'll be a video coming on that motor specifically, and I'll tell you what, if you have a 72 volt Talaria Sting R, you're gonna need that motor. We have this mount just zip tied to our cables because we don't have a GoPro style mount for a bar yet. It's meant to go on here, but since we have the Warp 9 steer lock, we can't put it on there. Spike sure keeps up in traffic pretty well. We're also running the nuclear thumb regen brake on here, which is a nice touch to have. Good old McDonald's.
30,000? All right, that's enough McDonald's. Time to ride.
Which bike you picking?
Out of all of these ones,
This one.
I'm picking that one. This one's way better. It's got the motor. It's way faster than mine.
What motor? You can't tell because it's a secret. Well, McDonald's was much needed. These bikes are so fast. Police. Okay, we got a steep hill coming up with a fast speed limit. We're gonna see if we can hold the speed limit going up this. We'll see if the boys can pass me. I'm sure they can. Their bikes are faster. We'll wait for these cars. Okay, we're doing 40 right now, 5,000 watts. Here we go, I'm gunning it. Oh, we're catching up to these cars. Okay, we're just gonna slow down for a sec and go for it. I bet Reed's gonna fly past. Here we go. There's 40, 45, 50, 55. Reed's gonna come flying past me. We're doing 55, 56. Here he comes. Dang. That was a long full throttle pull. Our motor is starting to get warm. We're 165 degrees. We're holding about 10,000 watts, 10 kilowatts. Okay, well, we were about to end the video riding down the street, and some subscribers flagged me down. Yeah. They're all saving up for some Emotos, so. Oh, here's Al.
Subscribe to Talaria boys.
Yeah, yo, subscribe to Talaria boys. Yeah, when you guys get them, you have to come for a ride with us. Just shoot us an email.
I already put Lance on my bike with upgraded motor for the first time. Here he goes.
Oh my.
That thing's a rocket ship.
I need to get me a motor.
32 horsepower. My bike has 32
right now?
horsepower.
That's 32?
It's crazy.
That's insane.
He's coming back.
Dude, what is powering this thing?
I'm a little jealous.
Did you hear me? Dude, that thing is...